let's also talk about what you do. Maybe I'm not sure. PragerU is, to me, is very well known, but maybe not to all the Dutch audience. Maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit for our audience and what PragerU also does.
Great. So thank you for having me on. And I am the CEO of PragerU. PragerU was actually founded in my kitchen, believe it or not. I just said to a friend earlier that in some ways PragerU is my fourth child, except it was my first. And so I have 3 children, and we started PragerU about 14 years ago when we realized that America will not be taken down with bullets and tanks because of the size of our country. But dangerously, it could be taken down through the war of ideas that has been waged against our children, both in our schools, in universities, and culture and media. And so what we decided to do as American patriots is to do everything we can to defend our children and to defend our country. And we realized that our slingshot, the technology that we could use to defend our children, is not necessarily to go through the institutions of higher learning that are rotten from within, or to hope that the teachers' unions or any of the other institutions that are created and captured by Marxists. We realized that the way to do this is through the internet. And so we started creating digital content that teaches what ought to be taught. And we took to our advantage the fact that we were in Hollywood, California, and so we were able to hire the absolute best in the industry to make short videos. And we also took advantage of the fact that we noticed that people had a very little patience for long-form content. And we said, you know what, given that people have very little patience, why don't we promise them wisdom and knowledge in 5-minute videos? Just 5 minutes of your time, you can hear a perspective that you've never heard, and you may change your mind, or you might just get wiser and stretch your brain capacity a little.
And do you have some examples of videos, of topics that you think have been the most influential for you in giving new ideas to a lot of people?
So we have a portfolio of over 500 5-minute videos. And our videos range from issues of politics to life studies and history, understanding America's presidents, understanding socialism, understanding what is capitalism. And so what's magical about the content that we make is that really depending on who you are and whatever walk of life you're going through right now, whatever interests you, you will find something that's going to be a vitamin for your brain at PragerU. And so one example is we have a 5-minute video on the importance of forgiveness, the importance of having a relationship with your parents. Think about how many people have tenuous relationships with their parents and they don't know what to do about it. And so not all of our issues are political, because ultimately really what we want to do is have a good, moral, truthful world. And that oftentimes means life skills as well.
And did you expect, this much impact that you would have gathered in over the years as PragerU or not?
The first thing that comes to my mind when you say this is to work for PragerU is to prove that God exists.
And why would you say that?
Because the amazing miracles that have happened to us at PragerU are divine. No, I'd never expected that we would have 28 million unique visitors to our website. I never expected that I would be walking through the streets of Hungary and meet people who say to me that our videos have shaped their worldview. Yesterday, I was sitting with the Prime Minister of Hungary, and we were doing an interview like this one. I surely never expected that to happen. I never expected that we would be in the United States of America making content for the superintendents of education and boards of education in 10 different states. If you told me that I would be doing any one of these things that I just mentioned, if you told me this 10 years ago, I would just say you're just exaggerating, you're dreaming. There's just no possible way. But that's why I say you keep serving the community, the world, and suddenly you have more opportunities to serve, and there is just unimaginable growth.
That's great. And what do you think is the secret that other people can learn if they also want to serve, also, contribute to their communities, to their societies? Because, like, I come from the Netherlands, we see similar problems that I guess you have in America, also in our countries, but we don't see the same solutions yet.
You know, I think that there's a thing about human nature that leans towards not doing things. And it's a serious problem that we have as humans, because we rely on others to do the fighting for us, and we don't start fighting until it's too late. And we come up with all kinds of reasons for why we're not doing the fighting. One reason is, well, there's somebody better than me, or I'm busy doing something else, or maybe my neighbor is more equipped at doing it, or maybe there's somebody else who's doing it and therefore I don't need to do it. And I can come up with more and more reasons. And so my advice is, stop with the excuses. Do not rely on others to do the fighting for you. Do what you can. Remember that the blessings that you have are not your blessings. God gave you your blessings. God gave your blessings to borrow to do good. And you can make a decision whether you're going to honor God with your blessings and serve your community and your family and your children and possibly your country, and do right and do good. And by doing that, you will figure out that you can do more tomorrow than you thought you could do yesterday. But if you choose to go the route of excuses and not do things, then you're not using the blessings that God has given you. And ultimately, you will look back in life and say, I regret it. I regret not doing something about it. And most people regret the things they don't do more than the things they do.
That's true. I would say, though, like, I'm conservative, I'm religious, but most people in the Netherlands are not. So they might not be persuaded by this to actually make change. They might, share some things commonly on the right, like we need less immigration, we need to change certain things, like they might believe in capitalism, all these things, but they don't have, you could say, this under structure of religious meaning to it. So what would you say to people that have this view, which I think most of, for example, the Netherlands would be like?
Okay, so first of all, in my opinion, everybody has a religion. Everybody has a religion. The question is, which religion do they have? Atheism is a religion. Mm-hmm. It is so hard to believe in atheism that I would consider it to be a religion too. And by the way, many atheists have more religious fervor than religious people that I know. Environmentalism is a religion. There's a paganistic element to it too. Transgenderism is a religion. I mean, they're practically sacrificing children, going against women's instincts in the name of this religion. And so everything is a religion. So they might not believe in Judeo-Christian religion or in Christianity, but they've chosen a different religion. And I say this because humans, at the end of the day, we are different from animals. We're similar to animals in that we procreate and we need food and water and shelter. But we are different from animals in that we crave meaning. We crave meaning, and meaning has been part of our survival, right? We needed to be part of a community. We needed meaning. If you go back, hundreds and hundreds of years, there's always been some religious community element to human survival. And so to say that they're not religious, it's just they've chosen other religions. And I think they need to recognize that and reconcile what are their priorities. Now, let's say they've chosen a different religion, but they agree with you on economy, or maybe they agree with you on immigration, or maybe they agree with you that transitioning children and chemically, surgically castrating them is wrong. Maybe that is the case, but they say they're not Christian. Okay, well, you still have those things that I mentioned earlier. You still have those blessings. Maybe you don't believe that God gave them to you. Maybe you believe the universe gave them to you, whatever definition you want to use for that. But you have those blessings, and you still have children, and you should have the instinct to want to protect them. You should not want to allow them to transition and then regret it after the daughter lost her breasts or the son lost his ability to properly grow during his formative years, right? You should still have that instinct.
Of course.
So whether you believe that your blessings and your abilities have been brought to you by God, or because you're just randomly born with them, you should still do something about it.
Yes. That is true. I think people would agree on this point. I do think we still have this, like you said yourself. There's this, of course, this famous saying, which you for sure know: if you don't believe in religion, you'll believe in anything. That's of course what we see. Are you hopeful that this will turn around in the West? Because you see in America now maybe a little bit of a new wave, but I I'm a little bit skeptical of where we are going on this.
Yeah, well, you know, the co-founder of PragerU, Dennis Prager, shared this wisdom with us. And he said to us early on that the idea of being optimistic or pessimistic doesn't really matter when it comes to fighting. If you're optimistic, then you're going to say, I don't need to fight. Everything's going to be fine. The pendulum is going to swing, whatever it is that they say. Let me find all the excuses to do nothing. If you're pessimistic, then you're going to say, well, there's nothing to even be hopeful about. It's all going to go downhill. I might as well enjoy my life now and not worry about it because it's too late and too little and there's nothing to do. And so when it comes to, again, protecting our children, protecting our sovereignty, protecting our ways of life, it should not matter whether you're optimistic or pessimistic, whether you're hopeful or not hopeful. All that matters is that you have discernment. You know what the truth is, you know what you're good at, and you use those gifts, which you're good at, to do good and to serve.
And what if you're confused about what is true and what your talents are? If this is what I see with a lot of the people that write to us on a daily basis, that this is a big challenge, and maybe feel in their heart that that things are going wrong, they want to do something about it, but there's a lot of confusion going around, right?
Yes, people are confused. This is where I do go back to the Old Testament. And for your non-religious viewers, I will say that even if you are a complete atheist, you have to agree that the Bible, New Testament or Old Testament, is the most enduring manual for humankind. And why I say enduring, it's been around for more than 2,000 years, right? And so it has lasted a long time and has accumulated a lot of wisdom. I believe this wisdom comes from God. But even if you don't believe that the wisdom comes from God and you think it came from wherever, you have to admit that it's not Moby Dick, okay? It's not a random encyclopedia. It is something that describes human nature. And so when you ask the question of where do you derive truth from, the answer is go read the Bible. Because in the Bible, you will understand what human nature is like. And when you understand what human nature is like, you can better understand how to manage human nature. When I was an educator, I taught K through 8th grade in California, the United States. And during the teacher trainings that I would go through, they would say that kids don't come with a manual. And I would raise my hand like the troublemaker that of course I am, and I would say, well, actually they do. The Bible is a manual for humankind. You do understand that. And I'm sitting here with a former communist country, right? We're here in Hungary. And what is the first thing that the communists outlawed? What is the first book that they did not allow people to study here and teach? And that was the Bible. And the reason they didn't want people to study the Bible is because they wanted to reconstruct the rules to control humans. They didn't want us to understand human nature. They wanted to recreate their own rules. And so if you're just a lover of history, a lover of science, a lover of logic, study the Bible from that perspective, and you can realize that that's where you'll find truth.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Where can people follow or even contribute to your work and what you're doing with PragerU?
So PragerU is a 501c3 in America. We call it 501c3 so people can donate if they think that these ideas that we talked about are important, especially for young people to hear around the world. You can follow us on PragerU.com and subscribe. Remember that some of the things that I'm saying are upsetting to certain people, and so following us on social media might not be enough, because when we're censored, these videos will not be available to you. So if you go to PragerU.com, you can subscribe. You can get emails from us, but we are also available on anywhere you listen to podcasts. We have a large presence on X and on YouTube, on an Instagram, and most of the large social media platforms.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all the work that you have been doing.
Thank you. It's good to be here.